Hello, in this presentation we will take a look at the specific identification method. Again, we're going to use the same numbers as we did for the FIFO method, the LIFO method, and the weighted average method. We're just going to use a different method now, being the specific identification. Going to left click over here, going to drag this to the right until it snaps like so, then enter the date, which will be 3/1 tab. Going to go over to the ending inventory. This is where we're beginning at 100 units at $50. Tab, I'm going to say this equals the 100 times the 50 tab. Just going to pull that over to the right. That's our beginning point. That number matches our number over here. Going to take this and pull it over to the right again. Then we purchased on March 5th on 3/5. We purchased another 100 or 400 units, 400 at tab 55 tab. Going to multiply 400 times 55 by saying equals left twice with the arrow times left once with the arrow. 400 times 55, I'm going to say enter, is the 22,000. Then we're going to pull this layer down and then include this layer. So as of this date and time, I want to have what our inventory is at that date and time here. So I'm going to highlight these, going to right click on them, copy it. I'm just going to put my cursor in 085, right click, paste it, 1, 2, 3. Then I'm going to take these numbers here, highlight those, right click, copy. Then I'm going to right click here, paste it, 1, 2, 3. And so at the end of the day, we have 500 units cost at 55 and 50, and it's 5,022 total cost. So if we sum that up over here, then our total in dollars as of the end of March 5th is the sum of these two being 27,000. So if we were to post this out, then I'm going to make this large, and we're going to post this transaction. Again, we bought this many units, so inventory is going to go up by the 22,000 there. We're going to credit the same to accounts payable. Inventory was purchased, so in Z87 equals to 22 is increasing the inventory to 27. That's what's in our ending inventory. Then we're going to go to accounts payable equals the credit, increase in the credit amount to the 34. It goes up because we owe more money for the purchase. Notice that nothing is different from the LIFO and FIFO yet, because the question will be when we sell it, which ones will we sell? Difference will be that the book will have to tell us which ones we sell in this case. Going to take this, going to move it to the left, and we're going to go to the next line, which will be right here, which will be on 3/9. So on 3/9, we had a sale. So we sold 420 units at this time. Once again, it's not going to be the sales price that we're worried about in this table. We will worry about the sales price when we do the journal entry. We're now worried about the cost of the units we sold. The cost will not be 85. They'll be somewhere between 50 and 55. So the question is, which ones did we sell in this case? And in this case, the problem is going to tell us that we sold 80 units of the 50. So we sold 80 of these units, and we sold 340 of these units. So if we knew specifically which units we sold, and we would only usually know specifically if they were large units like a car, which has a different identification number or something like that, or differentiated units in some way. If we know specifically which unit was sold, then we can track it by serial number or something like that and make that distinction, and then we know exactly how much it cost because we know how much we paid for that batch. But of course, if we were using things that were totally the same, then we wouldn't know how much a particular item cost necessarily. We would use an assumption. It wouldn't make sense for us to use specific allocation. So in this case, we're going to say, I know how much we sold. We sold 80 units of the 55 batch, and we sold 340 of the 55 batch. Therefore, how many of this $50 inventory do we have left? 100 minus 80. Therefore, I can do that here, equals the 100 minus the 80, means that we have 20 left of this 100 that cost $50, the cost being $50. Multiply that out, then 20 units left at 50 times 50, enter. That's how many we have left. How about the 400 unit at 55? Well, 400 we sold 340. If we subtract that out, equals 400 up to minus the 340 tab means we have 60 left. Then those costs, $55 tab, multiply that out, equals 60 times 55. So as of this date, then we have $1,000 worth of the $50 units, which are 20 of them, $3,300 worth of the 55 units, which we have 60 of those. If we sum those up, then equals the sum of the 1,000 plus the 3,3 gives us the 4,3. Now we're going to post the journal entry. We're going to first record the sale at 85. That 85 has nothing to do with this worksheet. Then we'll record the cost of the sale, which will be this amount here. So 420 at 85 is what we sold. So people owe us 420 times 85. If we sold it on an account, we earned revenue of 35.7. Therefore, if we sold it on account, we can put our cursor in Z86 equals that 35.7, making the receivable go up, and we can go to revenue equals that 35.7, making revenue go up. Now we're going to make net income. That's income went up now by that. We need to make income go down by the expense related to that sale being the cost, which is this 4,000 plus the 18.7. Those units cost us 22.7 according to this method. Therefore, we have to record the cost of goods sold and reduce the inventory. Cost of goods sold in Z93 equals the 22.7. That income then, when I hit enter, will go down to 13,000, and the inventory, double click on the inventory, go to the end of it, plus inventory is going to go down by 22 to 4,003. That's the amount on our worksheet here. Going to pull this, going to left click, pull it to the left, go to the next line, which will be here. We are now on 318, and as of 318 we purchased another 120. So I'm going to say 120 tab. We purchased those for $60 tab. That equals 120 times 60 means that we bought another $7,200 worth. I'm going to bring these two down. We still have these here. So as of this date line, I want to see all the units and cost of the inventory as of that date line. Therefore, I'm going to highlight these, right click, copy, right click right there, paste it, 1, 2, 3. Then I'm going to highlight these, right click, copy, and put them underneath, right click, paste 1, 2, 3. So now we have this layer, 20 units at 55, 60 units at 55, 120 units at 60. If we sum those up, then the total dollar amount is the 1,000, the 3,3, the 7,2 being the 11,5. If we post this journal entry, I'm going to make this large, go to the next transaction here. Inventory just went up by that 7,2. That's the money that actually went out. That's the debit to the inventory, credit, payable, assuming we purchased it on account. Double click on inventory, go to the end, plus the 7,2 will make it go up, enter to 11,5, the amount on our worksheet. Then we can go to the accounts payable, or accounts receivable, accounts payable, sorry, double click, and plus we owe another 7,2, meaning the liability goes up to 41,350, assuming we bought it on account. I'm going to take my left click here, drag it over, next transaction be underneath right there. So it's going to be on F92. Therefore, we have another purchase on 325 for 120 for 200 at $62 tab. So this equals 200 times 62, enter. So now we bought another 12.4. Once again, I'm going to bring all these down. So we have this many layers now here. I want to put all those as of this date line. So we have, this is what we had before the purchase. I'm going to right click, copy, put that in there as of this date line right there. Right click, paste it, 1, 2, 3. Then we added another 200 units at 62. Going to highlight that, right click, copy, put that right here, right click, paste 1, 2, 3. Then now we have 20 units at 55, 60 units at 55, 120 units at 60, 200 at 62. I'm going to add these numbers up right there, equals the sum of the 1,000 plus the 3 plus the 7,2 plus the 12,4 gives us the 23.9. Then we're going to post this to our journal entries That's how much we purchased in dollars. Going to make this large. Going to go to our inventory journal entry. Going to say this equals the 12.4, enter. Then we'll credit the same amount there. So then if we post that out, I'm going to double click on inventory, go to the end of it, plus. That's the debit inventory increasing to 23.9, the amount on our worksheet. Then we're going to say we paid for it on account, double click the AP, go to the end of it, plus the 12.4. Now we owe another increase of the 12.4 to 53.750. Left clicking, dragging to the right once again. Going to post the next transaction right there, which will be on 3/29. We have a sale of the 160. So we sold it for 95. We want to know how much we sold it for. And once again, the book's going to basically tell us how much we sold it for in this case. Now I'm going to say that we have this many layers that we have here. And so if I just copy the sales price and I say this is how many types of prices we sold, the book's going to tell us that we sold the 120 of the 62 in this case. In the problem, they're telling us that. And we sold 40 of the 60 unit items. Therefore, we sold none of these and none of these. So how do we know that? Because we specifically identified which ones we sold. So we know exactly which ones the customer took off the shelf or which car we actually sold because of the serial number. So if we multiply that out, we didn't sell any of these. We didn't sell any of these. And then we sold 40 times 60 of these, and we sold 120 times 62 of these. That would be what we sold. And you can see that these older ones, maybe they're becoming obsolete. We don't know. Maybe there's a reason why the older ones will not be being sold. Maybe they're going to have to be written off at some point. Maybe there's an expiration date on the type of inventory that we have. So in this case then, we had 20 units of this first layer, and we didn't sell any of them. 20 minus the 0 means that those are still on hand. So the ones that cost $50 are still there. So we're going to say this equals the 20 times the 50. They're still there. Then the $60 layer that cost $55, we didn't sell any of those. So we still have these 60 minus 0. So we still have the 60. They cost $55. So 60 times the 55, those are still there. Then the 120 at 60, we sold 40 of those. So of the 120 minus the 40 means that we have 80 left of those. Those cost $60. If we multiply that out, 80 times 60 gives us the 48. Then the final layer of 200, we sold 120 of those, equals 200 minus 120. We have 80 left of those at the 62, equals the 80 times 62. That gives us the 4960 on the specific inventory method. Now we're going to sum up the totals over here to get the dollar amount as of the end of the day. And if we do that, equals the sum of the 1000, the 33, the 48, the 4926 added up gives us the 14060. Then we're going to record the sale. We sold 160 units at $95. So that's going to be the sales price. That will be our first journal entry. Then we're going to record the cost, which will be the sum of these, this 9840. So we're going to first do the 160 times 95. Going to make this large, and we got equals the 160 times 95. That's what we sold it for. People owe us $15.2 in receivable, and we earned revenue of the $15.2. So I'm going to double click on the accounts table, go to the end of it, plus the debit, making this go up in the debit direction to 95.8. Then we're going to go to revenue and double click on revenue, go to the end of it, plus that's a credit, that's a credit. Revenue is going to go up in the credit direction by the 15.2. Now we're going to record the cost of the inventory that we sold. This is the biggest expense. It's going to be the sum of these numbers. So the 24 plus the 7440 gives us the 9840. That's the cost of the units we sold, the expense that is related to that revenue. And if we double click on the cost of goods sold, go to the end of it, plus the 9840, enter, brings net income down, puts us out of balance. If we go to the inventory, double click on it, go to the end, plus go to the credit 9840, that brings the inventory down to 14060, matching our sheet here.